Alright, welcome back to the Game Smash Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Room of Liberty, and with me is...
fawwaz Muhammad Yusuf.
And today we got a packed podcast. We're going to be talking about the PlayStation Plus and Games with Gold this month. Mighty Number 9 getting a release date. The Banjo-Kazooie successor getting kickstarted. Rare will be announcing a new title at E3. Battletoads join Shovel Knight. Telltale Games working on a Marvel game. And season passes in general. Are they getting better or are they just getting worse? And then we have a new thing that we're going to do at the end, but we'll save that as a surprise. But anyway, let's get started. What do we play this week? Other than Bloodborne, I actually went back to Smash Brothers. I went back to Smash Brothers because finally they released the DLC, Mewtwo DLC for everyone. And I bought the bundle. Like, I bought the pack that came with all, like, the Mii Fighter customizable stuff.
Okay.
So I bought all that as well, and it was pretty good. I think essentially what the Mii Fighter stuff is that they give you a way to play as characters that they're not going to put effort into putting into the game. Okay. You know what I mean? They're just giving you a little bit more customizable options. So I like that. I think that's pretty cool.
Okay.
And it was fun, and I like Mewtwo's moveset. I think his ultimate smash move is pretty awesome, and yeah, I really like him overall. He's a lot different than he was in Melee, but he's still similar in a lot of ways. So definitely worth the buy if you can pick it up. But anyway, what you been up to, Fawwaz?
Okay, so I started, I've been playing Devil May Cry. Good God. So, as you all know, I got Devil May Cry 3 last week and had been playing that. What that did, though, was it made me hunger for more hack and slash. So I started playing Ninja Gaiden again, Ninja Gaiden Sigma Plus for the Vita, because there's so many versions of Ninja Gaiden at this point. Mm-hmm. That game is fun. That game is a lot of fun. It's a very deep, very complex game. But that shit is hard. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit out of practice, but I, it didn't take me very long to get my my bearings back. The thing is that I'm playing it on the Vita, so that can be a little difficult. But yeah, man, that game is so much fun. I've never beaten it on Master Ninja, but playing Devil May Cry, because playing Devil May Cry 3, it made me really want to go back and find it, because I've never beaten a Ninja Gaiden on Master Ninja difficulty. So I'm gonna give it a shot on the Vita version. Try to control my anger, because whipping a controller across the wall is one thing, whipping your Vita is another. So
it's the equivalent of taking your PS3 and chucking it at a wall.
yeah, it's even worse because the PS3 is cheaper right now than the Vita.
That's actually true. Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I've been playing. Yeah.
Nice. But anyway, moving on from that, we're gonna cover some PlayStation Plus games and Games with Gold. So, Fawwaz, you got the list?
Yes, I do. Okay, so for the PlayStation 4, we've got Ether 1, Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship Edition.
Yes,
God, that's a mouthful.
Oh, best name.
The Unfinished Swan, which is for PS4, PS3, and Vita. Raise the Sun, which is also for the PlayStation ecosystem. Ho Ho Kum, which is for the PlayStation ecosystem. And finally, Murasaki Baby for the Vita. Now, with Games with Gold, we've got Castle Storm, Definitive Edition, and Pool Nation FX. Wasn't that from last month? That's kind of...
I think some of them are dipping into last month as well.
Oh, that's kind of scummy.
Yeah.
And then for the 360, they get Mafia 2, they get Codemasters Formula 1 Racing Sim, F1 2013, and then that's it. Wow, that's kind of sad.
I was about to say this is another month that's been kind of could be better so far.
Yeah.
But I will say this, Guacamelee. Absolutely, definitely pick it up if you can.
Yeah,
Can't.
I bought Guacamelee for the Vita, and I absolutely love that game. I'm definitely gonna be picking up the Super Turbo Championship Edition for the PS4. I'm sorry, I can't say that
Yeah.
name without laughing.
It's great.
There's one thing though, and I'm probably gonna. I'm gonna get into this in more detail on a different podcast, but there's this one thing called the tool tree section, which is a ridiculously difficult platforming section that I beat on the Vita version after hours of trying. I am not looking forward to having to do it again on the PS4. That's just one thing I have to say. But overall, this is a pathetic month for both the PlayStation Plus and games with gold. I can't lie. I'm looking at the list of games and I'm just like, wow, what is going on here?
I hope that they announce maybe something more later in the month, but right now it's kind of could be better, could be better. But better news, Mighty Number 9 gets an official release date, September 15th, 2015.
15, yeah.
And Mighty Number 9, basically it's this basically a successor to Mega Man. That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, because the developer, oh my god, what's the dude's name? Keiji Inafune. There we go. Keiji Inafune was like, okay, Capcom have their heads up their asses right now, so I'm just going to go and make and this brings me back to what we were talking about last week about indie games and how this is a very good time for independent games, because Keiji Inafune was like, okay, the fans want a new Mega Man, but Capcom are like, screw you guys, so I'm just gonna go make a new Mega Man. I mean, this game is literally Mega Man in everything but name.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it had a very successful Kickstarter. But I had forgotten about it because we hadn't heard information. But yeah, September 15th.
Yeah.
For everything 15th. But the Vita, and then we'll find out when it's coming out for the Vita down the line, which is getting very annoying. But I'm not even going to get into that. But
I think it will eventually come out for the Vita, though. I think.
Yeah. Hopefully it's cross-buy. If it's cross-buy, I don't care. I'll buy it for my PS4, and then when it comes out for the Vita, I'll just download it or something. But yeah, I'm definitely excited for this. I'm not a big Mega Man fan. I loved Mega Man X. That was the one with Zero?
Yeah. That was the really cool one.
Yeah, I love that one. But other than that, I've never really played a Mega Man. But I'm definitely gonna check this out. Yeah.
Well, there's some features that are actually really really cool. Like they've listed some of the features. Like they got their classic things like the boss rush mode. They've got battle compete online, race through levels with other players. You can play co-op with your friends. And I think one of the neat features of this game is you can actually toggle between regular and 8-bit music. And that's so cool. That's great.
How did I know that was what was gonna catch your eye?
Yeah,
out of all this stuff. You're like, we've got boss rush mode, we've got 2-player online co-op, and Tyler is like, yo, they've got 8-bit music. I am sold.
I am sold now. I love that shit.
But yeah, no, I'm excited. They're going to be showing more of it over the course of the summer. I mean, most of the people that are going to buy this game have already bought it, to be honest, but are already sold. But yeah, they're going to be showing it over the course of the summer, and I'm really excited. But yeah, continuing with the theme of developers making spiritual successors to games, the Banjo-Kazooie developers, they left Rare. A bunch of them left Rare, and now they've revealed the spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie, called Yooka-Laylee.
Yes.
It is. It's pretty much. It's just like Mighty Number 9. It is Banjo-Kazooie in everything but name. The team it has most of the team that worked on the original Banjo-Kazooie, and some of the people that worked on the Donkey Kong game. They launched a Kickstarter, and in between the time that they launched the Kickstarter earlier in the week, and in between the time that they launched the Kickstarter and the time of us recording this podcast, they hit their stretch goal in like an hour. Yeah. They hit 1 million in about 6 hours, and I think that's a Kickstarter record. And as of the last time I checked, they've hit pretty much every single stretch goal that they set. Yeah. So this is similar to Mighty Number 9. This is one of the most successful Kickstarters in recent memory, which leads me to a question. Do you think, Tanner, that this might lead to a resurgence of 3D platformers on next-gen consoles?
Well, I feel like it depends on how good this one is. Like this is definitely one where it's like, look, a lot of people have been waiting for something around this lines for a really, really long time.
Yeah,
But it has to kind of grab the attention of a lot of people, if to be a huge, huge resurgence. Because
yeah.
honestly, I don't think I've actually played a 3D platformer in a really long time. The last 3D platformer, this is going to be a pull out of nowhere. The last 3D platformer I played was Alice Return to Madness.
Oh,
Yeah, like that was the last 3D platformer game I actually played, and I feel like they've definitely gone down in popularity. But if this game comes out and blows everyone's minds, then yeah, I could totally see a resurgence.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
because just because they're more colorful, like especially this one looks really just the colors just pop off the screen, and the music's just the right kind of tone, and yeah, I could definitely make a resurgence.
Uh-huh. Oh, and just so you know, the soundtrack, apparently one of their stretch goals, which they hit, was that they're gonna have a 64-bit special edition soundtrack. So that's
Yeah,
something for you to get excited
absolutely.
about.
The sh-
But yeah, if this game is as successful as, because Shovel Knight was ridiculously successful,
Mhm.
like it was unbelievably successful. So if this matches Shovel Knight's success, I can definitely see. The big dudes, Sony and Microsoft, because Nintendo is still backing up 3D platformers. So long as
Yeah.
Mario exists, there'll always be 3D platformers on Nintendo consoles. But
Mhm.
Sony and Microsoft have kind of pushed those to the side.
Yeah.
Microsoft partly because they never really had a successful 3D platformer, but
Yeah.
Sony it's because they're 3D platform developers. Naughty Dog and Insomniac and Sucker Punch have kind of
Mhm.
moved on to more mature things.
Yeah.
But yeah, if this is really successful, I can definitely see that happen, especially with Microsoft because Microsoft own Rare,
Right. Yeah.
and we could see Conquer coming back. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna keep. I'm definitely excited to. I mean, this game better be good. That there's so much
Yeah.
pressure because if this game comes out and it sucks, it's gonna be heartbreaking. But yeah.
Well, honestly, and I know this is like gonna tick off some people. I actually really like this chameleon design more than I like Banjo. Like I don't know. It's just I think I love chameleons. So being able to
Okay.
play as a chameleon is just like yes, freaking awesome. But
Now, I still prefer Banjo's design,
mhm.
if only because he's not naked.
Fair enough.
Um,
Fair enough. Pants can really make a difference.
yeah, yeah, but no, I love how this game looks. I'm always complaining about photorealism and how
Mhm.
I feel like people are overdoing it. So I love how this looks.
Mhm.
If nothing else, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's that.
Yeah,
But
definitely looking forward to it for sure.
yeah.
But speaking of Rare, Rare officially announced that they're going to be announcing a new title at E3.
So
So,
having announcements of announcements.
yes, official announcements of announcements. This is what we've become.
Yeah, one thing that made me laugh was that the comment section, because this announcement came out like a few days after Yooka-Laylee got announced, and the comment section was just like, you know what, I don't even care anymore. I have my Banjo successor, so Rare can, kiss
Yeah,
my ass. That was what a lot of people were saying in the comment section.
yeah.
Personally, I'm of the wait and see, which is
Mhm.
how I usually
Yeah,
at this moment, if I had to guess, I'm gonna say it's gonna be something to do with Battletoads
yes.
because what's his name was wearing a Battletoads T-shirt and he's been making very cryptic comments about Battletoads, and
Yeah,
then Battletoads have been added to Shovel Knight. So
yes.
at this point, I'm about 100% sure we're going to see something Battletoads related at E3,
Mhm.
whether it's a full-fledged new game
Mhm.
or or it's just an HD re-release of the original Battletoads, or it's both, which is what they
Yeah,
did with Banjo-Kazooie
yeah.
on the Xbox 360, is still to be seen. But
Mhm.
I'm keeping my eyes open. I'm keeping
Mhm.
my eyes on this development because yeah, I think this could be if this comes out now, you have Yooka-Laylee probably coming out sometime next year. This comes out, whatever they announce, say it's a platformer that comes out next year as well. Both are successful. That could lead to a resurgence in 3D platformers for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but what are your thoughts on this? What game do you think they're going to be announcing at E3?
Well, I pretty much agree with you. Battletoads definitely seems to be what all the little clues are hinting at, too. And plus, I would actually kind of like to see another Battletoads, because it's one of the few rare games that I've really played a lot of. I actually played Battletoads on the Game Boy, like the old-ass, big, fat, gray Game Boy. Like, remember that thing? Yeah, I used to play Battletoads on that thing all the time, and now you would kick my ass. Like, it was hard as hell. And seeing people talk about how hard Battletoads was, I was like, oh yeah, I've seen that shit. It was super hard. But it would be kind of nice to revisit it and be like, all right, I've trained 20 years. I'm going to come back and I'm going to beat you this time. And like, so yeah, I'd be definitely excited to see Battletoads, for sure. But yeah, I pretty much agree. I think it's going to be Battletoads. But moving on from that, we got another really interesting announcement. Telltale is announced that they're going to be working on a Marvel game, like a Marvel property kind of game. So this has led to a lot of discussion, like what is it going to be about? What could it, what's the story going to be? How is the gameplay going to be? So since you're more of a comic book guy, Fawwaz, I'm going to let you take a first swing at this. So what do you think about this?
Well, I mean, I don't think I've hidden my disdain for most Telltale games. I'm not a big Telltale fan, but I definitely think they are overdoing it. But with all that said, a Telltale comic, because I mean they did a Wolf
Among Us.
Wolf Among Us. There we go. And I hear that was really good. I didn't get it because I hated The Walking Dead, so I didn't buy the Wolf Among Us.
Fair enough.
But I can see this being interesting. I'm more of a DC person than a Marvel person, so off the top of my head, I can't think off the top of my head I can list like the DC character I would love to see in a Telltale game is Constantine or the Question.
Yeah, the Question. Yes.
Yeah, but Marvel, I'm trying to think, because you don't want someone too actiony, right? The reason, someone like Iron Man would suck in a Telltale game. All the Avengers, all the X-Men, Spider-Man, all these characters wouldn't work very well in the Telltale game. You need someone more down to earth, and I can't think of a single Marvel character like that.
The thing that comes to mind is just like you play as the Hulk, and then it's just like you have 4 options: smash, press B, smash, press A, smash.
Yeah, exactly. You need someone more cerebral, which is why, like, when I think of a Telltale comic book game, the first character that always comes to my mind is the Question.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I can't think of a single Marvel character like that. I'm sure there is. I just don't know them. But yeah, who do you think is going to be? You're more of the Telltale person.
You know what? It would have to be. You know what I would say? It would have to be someone maybe like it have to be detective-wise. I would assume like maybe even Daredevil could be a possibility.
See, I thought of Daredevil, but he's not. He's more like Batman than the Question,
But I mean, like I'm thinking more of like just like tonally. Because the thing that's weird about this is that the last couple of Telltale games, like you think Game of Thrones, Walking Dead, Wolf Among Us, they've been like more serious kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird to see them jump to Marvel, because Marvel's not known to being super serious, like at least not like super dark or anything like that. But I don't know. It's hard to say who they're gonna pick and choose, but I think this is kind of a neat opportunity because I think it might allow them to pick some of the lesser known Marvel characters and have people learn about them. That might be really, really cool. But as far as the Telltale games, the one thing that I will say, even though I don't like the gameplay has not evolved that much, there's not a whole lot of new features in it, but still what ends up bringing me back is that they're really good at building an atmosphere and making me care about their characters. And I feel like it makes me wish that they would just expand their horizons a little bit more to do more than just that, because I love their characters and I love how the stories end up playing out. I just wish that there was a little bit more than just that. And that's the biggest problem I have with the Telltale games. But I'm really interested in how they're going to handle this, because there are many Marvel characters I can think of in which this situation will work very well, because like Hulk smash, like
Yeah.
you know what I mean. But
Yeah.
it'll definitely be interesting. But I have a feeling that they're gonna probably pick somebody who's lesser known and maybe try and build off that. And
That's
I think
what
that
I'm
would
thinking
be cool.
as well.
Yeah. But best of luck to them, and hopefully it helps boost Marvel some more. Age of Ultron comes out. Well, actually, it just came out.
Tuesday.
Yeah, it came
Friday.
out.
Sorry, I'm thinking like a gamer.
Yeah.
Friday.
Beautiful, fawwaz, beautiful. But now we have to go and talk about some lesser great news. So. We haven't really done a big talk down about season passes, but I think now is a good time to talk about it, because Batman Arkham Knight just announced its season pass, and it's around like $40 to $50, like
Yep.
right out of the gate.
Yeah,
And then,
$40.
Yeah, and then immediately after that, Black Ops 3 announces its DLC season pass to be around $50 as well. Like. Okay, guys. So we gotta talk about this. So especially for Arkham Knight situation. Now, for me, I'm actually really excited for Arkham Knight. Don't get me wrong. I think Arkham Knight is gonna be a pretty damn good game. But the problem I have with this season pass is that when you go to the site, it gives you the most vague description of what you're getting I have ever seen. Like, it's like get access. Like, I think the one that blew everyone's mind, like really, was new invaders of Gotham. Will you basically villains are getting added. And I'm just like, really? Like, basically they're not in the main game. They're just gonna show up like a month later, and it's like, oh yeah, I was supposed to be attacking Gotham now. So, and that's a little bit weird. And like, racing tracks is a little bit weird as well. I was like, I don't think Batman has ever been a really good racing game. It's not really why you play Batman. But then it's also, when you think about it, it's like, it's so much content that's being announced in the season pass. It makes you start to wonder. It's like, this could have possibly been in the game, and then Warner Brothers might have just taken a big chunk of it out to be DLC, which is like, as we've seen with how they've handled DLC with Evolve, is like they're not making really smart decisions. Like,
yeah.
But anyway, what are your thoughts on this so far?
Okay, so I think here's my thoughts with this. It's bullshit. First of all, that you charge. I mean, first of all, the game costs $60 in America, and then $70 over here. But let's not get into that.
Yeah.
And then you charge $40 for a season pass. Okay. Then on top of that, you're not even okay. Like they announced what the details are afterwards, because people were like, "What the hell? $40? They're not even going to tell us what we're shelling this money out for." So with that said, I don't. My stance on DLC has always been the same. Like I judge DLC based on how much content the original game itself has. MKX, for example, has a lot of DLC coming out, but MKX has a lot of content. So I don't feel forced to buy the DLC. Injustice, that's a perfect example. I didn't buy any of Injustice's DLC. There was a ton of costumes that 4 or 6 characters, and I didn't buy any of it because I bought Injustice and I was perfectly happy with what I got. So like, it doesn't bother me as much that the DLC exists if the main game has a lot of content. My problem with Evolve was that Evolve did not have a lot of content out the gates. So like, whether or not this content was on the disc and they took it off, I really don't care, so long as the main game, like, if I buy the game and I feel like, okay, I've gotten my money's worth, then I really don't care, With that said, I do think they're getting out of control. And announcing, like, for God's sake, Black Ops 3, they announced Black Ops 3, game isn't coming out till November, but hey, you can pre-purchase a $50 season pass for a game that I barely know anything about. And a season pass that I know absolutely nothing about. Like, okay, you guys are getting out of control here. With all that said, there are some people that are still doing this right. The Witcher 3 announced an expansion pass. First of all, it was $25, which is, it was $25. And they not only did they give us the details, they also gave us there's about 10 hours of content in one of the expansion packs, and there's 20 hours of content in another one. So like they even gave us how much hours
Yeah.
we can be expected to spend on these game on this DLC. So I think that's DLC done right. There's also going to be a bunch of free DLC for The Witcher 3.
Yeah.
So it's not all doom and gloom. And in general, honestly I don't mind it as much as people. Everybody sees, like, a lot of people see DLC and they're like, oh my god, they took this off the disc, and I don't care. At the end of the day, they have a right to put as much or as little as they want on every game disc that they sell. It's it's now our job to look at how much they put on that game disc and say whether or not that is worth our money.
Yes. It's sort of like you're assessing, like, okay, this is how much content's on the disc. Is it worth the $60 price tag? Or like,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. You look at how much content's on the disc, and it doesn't matter how much they're charging you for the DLC. You look at how much content's on the disc, and you're like, okay, this is or isn't worth my money. That's the way I approach these things. So I don't let DLC sway my opinion of a game. Well, I try not to let DLC sway my opinion of a game. Unless, like I said, the game like Shadowrun. Shadowrun is a very good game. Do you remember Shadowrun?
Vaguely. It was that the multiplayer game, kind of?
Multiplayer only game. It was a multiplayer only game that launched with 3 maps and 3 modes.
Yeah.
I was like, what? And then they were charging us full price for it, and they were planning on having DLC down the line. Like, screw you guys, take your DLC and shove it up your raggedy asses. But like Skyrim, for example. I mean, Skyrim had a ton of DLC, and Skyrim and Fallout had a ton of DLC, but no one complained because Skyrim and Fallout had a ton of content. So I think it's more, for me, it's more about the content than the DLC. But yeah, maybe that's just me.
Well, for me, it's basically like the biggest problem I have with season passes is just you don't know what you're getting. So I really don't like that, because it's essentially, you know what it is? It's basically a gamble. It's like, you're putting all your money on, like, Red 20 or something like that, and you're just hoping that it's going to land on something you want. So that's essentially what it ends up being. And it's like, unless the season pass is like relatively cheap, then there's really no reason to get it unless you want to save like a little bit of money. But it's honestly, it's just like, it's kind of like just pre-ordering something before you've actually seen it.
Yeah,
this is why I'm always against when people it's like pre-ordered a game before any real gameplay footage has come out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm always against that. Like, don't pre-order your games until enough content has been revealed, because you will be amazed at how drastically a game can change in a couple of months. Like, it's
Let's not name any names.
Yeah.
But no, I feel you. I completely agree with you. In fact, it's actually worse than pre-ordering, because when you pre-order, you pay $5 and you have your pre-order now. When you buy a season pass, you pay $40 in the case of Arkham Knight.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I completely agree. I've only bought one season pass ever, and I think that was for Gears of War.
Oh yeah.
Gears of War 3, and it's because it was like maps. I'm like, okay, I know I'm gonna buy these maps anyway. So bam, I bought the season pass. But yeah, in general, I don't buy season passes because honestly, as much as I defend DLC, now that I'm thinking about it, I haven't bought a lot of DLC in recent memory. In fact, I can't remember the last game that I bought DLC for. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, I think for me, it's mostly I end up buying kind of the Telltale episodic stuff, which is kind of DLC and kind of isn't.
Yeah.
That's probably the closest thing, is that I'll buy, like, a season pass, because it's basically like buying the full game, so that when each part of it comes out. Like, that's the closest thing I could think of that I've done recently.
Yeah, I think what happened with me is that because I stopped because of school, I wasn't able to buy games when they were launching anymore. I was buying them like much later down the line.
Yeah.
So what usually happened was, by the time I was buying the Game of the Year edition was out. Like Shadow of Mordor, I'm thinking about buying the game, and the Game of the Year edition is coming out next week Tuesday. So I'm probably just gonna buy that, and there we go. Yeah. Another game that I skipped buying the DLC for. And the funny thing is, I'm not doing it on purpose. It just happens.
Yeah.
It just happens to play out that way. And then in some cases, like MKX, where there is DLC, but I'm not really interested in it, I might buy maybe one of the characters that's coming out, maybe Predator, because he looks kind of cool. But other than that, I'm probably not going to buy any of the other characters. So yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's basically our take on season pass and DLC for at this point anyway.
Yeah.
But let's move on to our. We have a new segment that we're going to do at the beginning of every month. It's basically what we're looking forward to this month. We're going to try and start it at the end of every podcast if we don't have a lot of questions to cover and stuff like that. But anyway, for the month of May, this is what I'm looking forward to for Waz. I got 2 games. One, Witcher 3. Obviously, I've talked about Witcher. I've played a lot of The Witcher 2. I feel really bad because I like Witcher 2, but I haven't beat it yet. It's because my PC keeps crashing, and it's like, ugh. So what I might end up doing is I might have just buying Witcher 3 and just playing it with like the little knowledge of like what's happened in Witcher 1 and 2, because I feel like I would rather buy it for the PS4 and have it run smoothly than get it for the PC and have it kind of crash. That's my biggest concern. But what I played in The Witcher 2, I actually really enjoyed, and it had a really intricate kind of interesting story that I was really surprised about. It actually drew me in a lot more than I thought it was going to.
Okay.
So that was sort of something that I was really excited and interested about. And then also on the other side of the spectrum, Splatoon. Splatoon is coming out this month. And since I haven't really played a shooter in a really long time, and I kind of want something a little more colorful, and I want to dust off my Wii U.
Literally colorful.
Yeah, literally colorful. I thought, might as well pick up Splatoon and give that a shot. And plus, I feel like my Wii U is basically meant to be like a party game kind of system. Like, it's meant for, I usually use it for when I'm, I have a bunch of friends over and I want to play like Smash or something like that. Party multiplayer games or something like that. That's sort of like what I use my Wii U for. Whereas for my PS4, I'm more like, I like getting like Bloodborne and single player stuff for that. But anyway, that's what I'm looking forward to this month. But Fawwaz, what are you looking forward to?
Okay, so I first of all, I'm actually really looking forward to the Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I actually can't say that without laughing.
It's the best title name ever.
Yeah, I'm actually really looking forward. I didn't realize how excited I was, how much I wanted to play that game until they announced that it was going to be free. But no, the other game that I've actually been keeping my eye on this month is Magica 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the first Magica, I literally followed the first Magica from the moment it was announced all the way till its launch. Unfortunately, it never launched on a console I owned because it stayed on the PC the entire time.
Yeah.
So I never got to play it. But I played Helldivers for a little bit. Unfortunately, with the broken launch and all that stuff, I didn't really get to enjoy it with my friends. But we're really looking forward to Magica 2. And me and my friends, unfortunately, it's coming out on like the 26th or something like that. So like it's not coming out anytime soon. It's also not being developed by the dudes who developed the first one, which worries me and excites me. It worries me because, well, it's not the same people anymore, but it excites me because those dudes have some of the most broken launches I've ever seen. So hopefully these other guys actually, launch a game that's working when it's at launch. But yeah, Magica 2, man, I'm really excited for that game. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's probably be interesting as well. And I mean, obviously get excited for broken launches. That seems like a trend that will continue.
Sorry?
That seems like a trend that will continue.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. But anyway, I think we're going to have to wrap it up here. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. If you leave something in the comment section, we'll make sure to answer it in the next podcast. And as always, this was William Liberty and...
Fawwaz Muhammad Yusuf.
And we'll see you guys next time. Take care.